Yeah.
Oh,
Snap your neck.
better fall in line.
There's another one. There's another one with dogs.
I see him. Oh,
Dogs.
there's 3 of them. Good God.
Run.
No! Come on! Have you ever been so confident in someone's rise through the ranks of YouTube, you thought, you know what? I think this person's like the perfect mixture of everything that YouTube wants. They're family friendly enough to where, you know, they're going to be catapulted up the algorithm and, you know, they're basically going to be on everyone's homepage no matter what you do.
Well, yeah.
I was like that with James Charles.
I used to watch him all the time.
Yeah, and that's the thing with me. I watched some of the videos that James was in, and I was like, huh, this is very well done. The energy is really good. But it wasn't my style of video that I like to watch, but...
Did you really watch makeup videos?
Yeah. Well, there were other ones out there that I was just like... Well, it was like the creature ones, like...
Oh, yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I was just like, how in the hell are they going to pull this off?
I mean, he was very creative. I mean,
yeah.
I don't know if he's still... I don't know.
Well, it seems like almost every 5 years there's a new beauty magnate that just explodes on YouTube and just takes over the scene.
Yeah.
And James Charles, I think, is the most recent one, and I think here in another year or two there's going to be one more that just explodes and just takes over. Before James Charles, there was another one. It was a little, like a woman from, I think it was Los Angeles. She basically took over and got 10 million subs like that, but then the music that she was using in the background, all of a sudden it got bought out by, I think it was Sony or Warner Brothers Music, and they basically put a lawsuit against her and bankrupted her.
Oh, wow.
And
that sucks.
Yeah, and everyone was like it was artists that everyone knew, you know, like friggin' Deadmau5, Skrillex, you know, like the bigger EDM artists and all that. Mm-hmm. And they were like, oh no, we fully support this girl. Like, we have no problem with our music being used in the background, but where the licensing was bought by this company, there's nothing we can really do about it. Oh. And that sucks.
Yeah.
But she eventually came back and did a few more videos, but then she has said, you know, I think I'm done with this phase of my career. I'm going to get into, I'm going to actually get into filmmaking. Or get into, like, working on makeup and film and all that. It's like, okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
And she made enough of a name for herself where she could, and she's actually done, like, big name productions.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. And James Charles was... There were attempts to cancel James Charles, but it wasn't until James Charles just came out and apologized for... there's some stuff that I'm still a little confused about on the overall thing, but from what I remember, as soon as James Charles apologized, all the momentum was gone. It was like all of his momentum was just unplugged. And it's like the drain was like, they finally... like, unplugged the drain in the bathtub and the water was leaking out and there wasn't really anything anyone could do. Mm-hmm. And Sunny V2 made a video talking about this. This is, James Charles's career is basically dead. Why? So, I guess we're going to see why, because Sunny V2's always done a good job of encapsulating everything. And I guess, let's go ahead and hop in. Here we go.
Okay.
2 years ago, James Charles was one of the most popular names when discussing the YouTube mainstream. He was playing Minecraft with PewDiePie, hosting his own reality TV show, all while his personal YouTube channel was clearing well over 100 million views per month. However, over the last year, things have changed significantly. He's lost over 1.5 million subscribers, equivalent to losing more than 100,000 subs per month. His average viewership per video has declined from well over 10 million to a little over 1 million, all while his Twitter hasn't seen any positive follower growth during the same time period. You might say that James Charles has become the poster child victim of internet cancellations. However, we should use the term victim lightly, as the death of his career has certainly been self-inflicted and could have easily been avoided, with his terrible management of controversy and subsequent career decline having begun back in early 2019 after James Charles would mention that he was most attracted to straight men.
I want a boy who is straight.
Love that for you. That's easy.
It's easier than you would think.
This statement resulted in the first contributing factor to his eventual downfall after a fan would post this photo of James Charles and another unknown individual to Twitter, questioning James as to whether or not this was potentially a new relationship. The unknown person in the image was later revealed to be Gage Gomez, a straight Instagram model who'd been talking to James for 5 months in the lead up to Coachella 2019, where this photo had been taken. With Gage being straight, James would respond to the Twitter post by stating, "Nope, unfortunately I'm still very single. This boy played me for months on end and is a disgusting con artist. I'm thankful I had my friends with me to protect me." Every single bit of misfortune that would occur in James Charles' life from here on out can be traced back to this specific tweet, as after making it, Gage, the Instagram model involved, would create a YouTube video stating that James pressured him into meeting up despite knowing that he was straight.
He then started to begin putting a little bit of pressure on me, of getting to know me, like disregarding the fact that I told him I was straight, because as you all know, this person 99.9, maybe even 100% of the time goes after heterosexual men.
And while this video hardly warranted a response and could have easily been the end of the drama, James made yet another mistake. After Gage would post the video explaining his side of the story, James would take to Twitter with a classic multi-paragraph notes app tweet trying to explain why.
Twit longer.
What the hell?
It's basically a giant. You're able to make a tweet that's super long. It's a link that it's just like my side of the story, and then you post the link in the tweet, and it hot links to this page, to the page where you can write out as much as you want. And this is usually I've seen too many of these pop up, and my whole deal is just like, look, man, I know that it's hard to explain shit in like 240 characters, but sometimes saying nothing is better than like just like saying too much.
He was in the right, beginning with the good old "I will address this now and never again." And if we learn anything from the Only JS video, it's that addressing or responding to criticism in a serious manner leads to almost certain career suicide over the long run, as audience love to berate an influencer who they know they can get a response or reaction from. For example, on that very same day that James Charles would respond to the criticism with his classic "I take responsibility" notes app tweet, this video will be posted to YouTube titled "James Charles hitting on straight guys for 17 minutes," which might not have ever been posted if James had simply ignored the drama in the first place.
This 21 picture is really cute, although that should have been me instead of your girlfriend, but we can let that slide.
The universal reporting of the drama led to a heightened awareness about James's tendency to pressure straight men into hanging out, and subsequently others would come forward stating that they had a similar experience. This was the reason behind the infamous Tati cancellation attempt, literally only 2 weeks after the drama with Gage, which we discussed just prior.
Oh my god, you tried to trick a straight man into thinking he's gay yet again.
While at Tati's birthday party, James Charles would mention that he found the waiter attractive.
You were talking in detail about things you wanted to do to the waiter. And when I said, "James, he's straight," your response was, "Doesn't matter, I'm a celebrity."
And as a result, James would find the waiter on Instagram before messaging him the following day. The waiter, whose real name was Sam Cook, mentioned that he was bi-curious, subsequently meeting up and making out with James Charles for about an hour.
He actually invited me out to his hotel. At that time, I was bi-curious. I had never done anything with a guy before, and I was curious. I said yes. We ended up making out for around an hour.
Afterwards, the two would part ways. However, a few weeks later, James would offer to fly Sam to LA, which Sam denied, as after his first experience with James, Sam had decided that he was straight.
He wanted to fly me out to LA. That kind of freaked me out because at that point I was pretty sure I was straight.
Resulting in James pressuring Sam further.
He still went on to say he thought I was bisexual or gay and attracted to him when I had told him different.
As a result of Tati publicizing the drama, in which James Charles looked like the bad guy, James lost 3.1 million subscribers over the course of a week.
Yeah.
Damn.
I remember that happening. That was the most subscribers lost in like a span of a week. Is unbelievable. And also, wouldn't it be a bit predatory if I, a straight guy, did nothing but try and chase after women who were like 100% clarified to be gay. Would that not be a bit like creepy? Because it's just like yeah, it's like maybe I can turn him back to the dark side. It's like Jesus Christ, that's like sounds creepy as hell.
I just don't. Why?
Because there's some people out there who want a challenge. There's some people out there who are just like I can do like.
But if okay,
go ahead.
What he's attracted to doesn't make any sense, because if he wins over the straight guy, wouldn't that make him not straight anymore? So
yeah,
what happens after that?
Well, there's something like my friend like Shane, who is gay, and for that matter, he's like, I have encountered a lot of things with Shane, and he actually helped me like hook up with a girl that I was very interested in. Mm-hmm. But his whole thing is, he admitted to me that he thought about trying to flip me for some time. You know what flipping is, right?
Changing their sexuality.
Changing the sexual preference, yes.
Yeah.
Basically trying to convince someone who is of one orientation that, oh, no, you're actually of this orientation, and I'm going to be the one that does it.
That's like super manipulative and not... and you cannot change people.
You can to a certain degree, but it has to be their choice. It has to be their choice to do it. People
have to... Yeah, but you trying to influence somebody to change... It's not going to happen. They're going to have that want or that ability to change on their own.
Yes.
And, these people were clearly straight. Well,
except for that second
one guy was like bi-curious or whatever, but at the same time he said, okay, after I've experimented, I've realized that I'm actually straight.
Yeah.
And he clearly let him know that.
100%, yes.
So, I just don't get it. But
what's there to get, Kate? I mean, honestly, this is someone who used their celebrity and used their influence to try and like pressure people into situations that benefited them.
Well, I just don't think that you should use that platform for that kind of...
Well, if you want, if someone wants to pursue some nookie on the side or anything like that, that's happened countless times. I mean, rock stars. I mean, the amount of times rock stars have been able to just, walk in anywhere and walk out with whichever person they choose to. And, honestly, if James wants to do that, fine. But you don't have to go to the level where you're literally messaging and pressuring these people. James, you can walk into any club in the world, and there would be tons and tons of...
I mean, he's a very attractive, man, he's... And he does a phenomenal job with his makeup and everything. But what he did, pressuring those people, I don't agree with that.
I don't either, and it's honestly, when I see it, I just can't help but just feel, a little taken aback by it. It's
he could have any person that he wanted to, but why would he go for the unattainable? That doesn't make any sense.
Shane explained to me it's sort of a badge of honor to flip somebody in the gay community, and at least that's how Shane explained it. And I would like to think that Shane knew he was gay as soon as he was in middle school. And he was one of the first openly gay people I ever knew in terms of school social life.
Mm-hmm.
I had my uncle and my cousin who were gay, and I knew them ever since I was a kid. And Shane, when I explained, when me and him started hanging out, he's actually I used to I bought weed off of him, and I also used to sell a little bit to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. statute of limitations doesn't matter. It's legal in our state now. But anyway, that whole ordeal with Shane was that he basically like when I told him that whole thing, and he tore down all the barriers and was more than open to express anything with me. Now, there were times where Shane was just like really going off the deep end on stuff that he'd done and all that, and I'm just like, look, man, that's TMI, bro. TMI. It's just like, well, I'd say that with any dude who's just like even a straight guy who's like
you don't
going
have
too
to
far.
go into detail.
No,
Just,
that's what I'm
it's
saying.
okay.
That's what I'm saying. I'm
Leave
just
it
like,
to the imagination.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, look, I
Please.
get it. I get it. Just
don't.
Yeah, just leave it be. I'd be like that with almost anybody. It's like there's a limit where I have, and if it exceeds it, I'm just like, nope, stop. That's as far as we're going. Let's move on. Speaking of moving on.
Process setting the YouTube record for the most subscribers ever lost in 24 hours, 1.26 million, which he still holds to this day. However, in spite of losing 3 million subscribers, this certainly wasn't the end for James Charles. He'd gained around 2 million of them back after posting a pretty cool, calm, collected response, showing that Tati was just being an immature child who was clearly trying to drag his name down for her own personal gain. As a result, over the long run, the heat was taken off James and instead focused on Tati, giving James free exposure with fairly minimal downside. Subsequently, his average viewership would triple from 50 million per month to 150 million per month over the following year. However, there was one thing that hadn't been forgotten by his audience. James Charles still had a tendency to respond or defend himself in the face of criticism, which if anything had been amplified by his multiple responses and apologies whilst involved in the Tati Westbrook drama. Even more insidiously, the fact that James Charles had gotten off scot-free might have given him a layer of false confidence, reinforcing that a public apology was a simple ticket to get out of drama, whilst in almost any other situation, a public social media apology generally hurts the creator's reputation over the long run, as James would come to discover when the real drama would begin in early 2021.
I'm not physically attracted to older guys, which sucks. Like, I would date like the absolute youngest, like 18, 19 that looks a little bit older, or like 24 that like has a young personality.
To say that this clip aged like milk would be a colossal sized understatement. Mentioning on the Impulsive podcast that he was attracted to younger boys would come back to haunt James when in February 2021, a user by the name of Isaiah13 made a post on Twitter stating, if you're gonna text someone, make sure you know their age. He added me on Insta, my Insta has my TikTok, which shows my age at James Charles, with an attached photo of his TikTok description showing that this person who James had been texting was only 16 years old. Isaiah, the individual who created this Twitter post, then took to his TikTok explaining that things got heated after James would add him on Snapchat.
James Charles snapped me on Snapchat. He added me back. I've always looked up to him, so I was excited to get his message back. I'm gonna post proof of it right now. This is the notification that I got when he Snapchatted me first. And just for further proof, he deleted the chat. I don't know what he deleted, but that's me opening his Snapchat. I went into the bathroom, and I guess he saw the bathroom light, so he started making the conversation very sexual, and it made me really uncomfortable. And I'll post some of the stuff that he sent me now. You can't see it because it's blurry, because I took it on my iPad, because I don't want him to see that I screenshotted it, but I'll post it right now. He proceeded to send me explicit pictures of his body,
which was followed by Isaiah stating that James Charles had also tried to pressure him into sending inappropriate photos.
So after sending me that first picture of his body, explicitly, he sent me multiple after that, and I'll post them now. I was getting really uncomfortable, so I told him my age. I told him I'm 16. Meanwhile, he's 21. He's a grown man. And then he proceeds to say, oh, but I didn't even get to see the yet, meaning my body. And after telling him, like, no, like, I'm not gonna send it to you, he kept on asking for pictures and videos of body hair and me flexing and stuff.
Now, we need to remember something. Addressing criticism had been effective for James Charles in the past. During the Tati situation, he simply explained his side, and because Tati's cancellation attempt was so pathetic, James's audience forgave him and everyone quickly forgot about it. This time, however, the allegations had substantially more weight behind them and weren't nearly as pathetic, yet James probably still thought that if he simply addressed the criticism again, everything would go away, which isn't what happened. James Charles would post a tweet reading, there's a video going around about me on TikTok and Twitter of a guy calling me a groomer, and I want to address it right away. The accusation that I've groomed this person is completely false. Last week, I came across someone on my Instagram Explore page, saw he followed me, and added him on Snapchat. The next morning, I woke up to several snaps from this person being excited I added him back, saying he loved me, and also lewd photos of himself in the shower. I asked how old he was right away, and he told me he was 18, so I started flirting back. Later in the day, he said a few things that made me question the validity validity of his original age answer, and when I asked him to confirm his age once again, he admitted he was 16. I told him I was really uncomfortable and apologized for flirting, but he insisted on continuing talking, saying it could be our little secret. He's a fan of mine and would never tell anyone. I told him I wasn't okay with this, he started getting upset, and at this point I unfriended him. We haven't spoken since. However, the other person involved would respond to the tweet stating, "James, we both know I blocked you. You never asked for my age. After I told you I was 16, you proceeded to ask me for nudes and said it didn't matter. You called me hot and said I wish the timeline could speed up so you can be 18, attaching a photo of his block list with James Charles on it. The issue with the whole thing was that their interaction had taken place on Snapchat, and therefore limited evidence existed for either side of the argument. It was James's word against some random 16-year-old TikToker's word. Sure, the kid had evidence of James asking him for inappropriate photos, but it's impossible to know if this had been from before or after James found out that he was underage. In all honesty, James's argument seemed to make way more sense. He stated, "I would never knowingly engage with anyone underage and put my life on the line for a few Snapchats." James had everything to lose whilst the TikToker had everything to gain. And at a time during which influencers were being cancelled.
They had to bring up Minnie. Damn. Yeah, this,
Who the hell is that?
That's Craig, Mini Lad. That is someone that, I'm gonna level with you, Kate. There was a time where his fans came to our channel in mass and basically asked us to react to a shit ton of his videos. We did.
Is this the guy that you talked about like a couple?
That's
couple reactions ago.
Yeah, that's
okay.
That's
you don't have to go into detail. It's okay. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Left, right, and center for talking to minors, it seemed almost unthinkable that James Charles would be dumb enough to knowingly risk exchanging photos with a 16-year-old. However, when 3 other individuals would come out stating that they'd had a similar experience, James's side of the argument would become impossible to believe.
Anyways, he goes, send me a shirtless picture, and I was like, okay, whatever, I don't care. So then he starts going, oh, send me pictures of your boxers, show me what you're wearing. Anyways, things start to get really weird because he started asking me for pics of this thing over here.
Individuals such as Ethan Klein from H3H3 Productions took to Twitter in a post reading, "Congratulations to James Charles on his Kids' Choice Award. It's great because kids have always been his choice too. P.S. Nickelodeon, please keep an eye on him during the after party," while others such as Keemstar would go so far as to state that James Charles should be put in prison.
I'm gonna go off on James Charles today. He needs to be put in a cage, alright? I am so done.
Before going on to state that there were too many examples of this happening to dismiss each occurrence as an accident.
How many times does this need to happen for us to stop saying, oh, well, James got trapped, James got tricked? Like, how many times until we can say, oh wait, maybe James is intentionally doing this? Just maybe, you know, just a thought out there.
As James's name was being dragged through the mud, the methods by which he could earn an income began to disintegrate. He'd be removed from the YouTube partner program, meaning he could no longer earn ad revenue from the platform. His incredibly lucrative makeup deal with Morph was terminated, all while he was removed as the host of Instant Influencer, but not before he'd teach those on the show how to do a fake apology video.
Take this from me because I've had to deal with this. As an influencer, when you grow a following, you will either say or do something that people might not like and might not agree with, and eventually you might have to apologize. So for today's compact challenge, you guys will be filming your very own apology video.
Which is, unsurprisingly, what James Charles would post next.
Hello everyone, James Charles here, and today I'm going to be making a very important video about a very important topic.
Feeling the heat from the whole situation, James Charles would upload a video titled "Holding Myself Accountable," in which it'd include all the classic fake garbage designed to make it seem like James was morally righteous.
Today's video is going to be from the heart and most importantly holding myself accountable for my own actions. First and foremost, I need to say sorry. I fully understand my actions and how they are wrong. I think it's important that I provide a trigger warning for this video.
Followed by James blaming the motive behind his actions on desperation.
And I couldn't understand why relationships were the one outlier. Why were they not working? And I finally came to a conclusion. And it is ridiculously embarrassing to admit this, but I think I have to, and that is that I'm desperate.
The whole apology just felt really fake.
And I'm taking this very, very seriously.
There was no evidence proving that he wasn't in the wrong, and it seemed as though the goal of the apology was sympathy rather than a structured dismissal of the allegations. He'd end the video by stating that he planned on taking a little bit of time off.
I'm going to be taking some time away to reflect and further educate myself on these topics. I think at this point it's really important that I do so I'm able to follow through with my word and prove to you guys that I will be a better person.
Also adding that he didn't plan on simply forgetting about the incident.
My expectations are not to, you know, press post and then forget about it and move on and wash my hands as if nothing happened, because something did happen. And what happened was not okay. And I don't want to just forget about it.
Yet this was probably one of the dumbest things that he could have said. When involved in drama, it's best to be passive about it. If you're going to be dumb enough to acknowledge it, say something brief, then move on. The longer you dwell on it, the more your audience will see that it's a big deal to you. It also didn't help that James would take 3 months off YouTube after uploading his apology video. He probably thought that his audience would interpret this as, oh, James is away from YouTube working on himself, but in reality it just felt like this dude just used his crappy behavior as an excuse to get out of 3 months work. When James would return, he was still talking about the drama as if he hadn't moved on over a quarter of a year later.
But I also think it would be ridiculous and irresponsible to try to just come back to social media and pretend like nothing happened and move on with regularly scheduled makeup programming. So I do also have some pretty serious topics to discuss in today's video as well, being what happened a couple of months ago.
In the process, James would lose 1 million subscribers whilst dropping his monthly view count from 150 million a month to around 20 million a month. Prior to the drama, it was unusual for one of his videos to gain less than 5 million views. However, since the drama, it's now become unusual for one of his videos to get 5 million views at all. When you search James Charles on Twitter, a solid 30% of the posts are memes about him liking underage boys, while another 50% comprise other miscellaneous posts with a negative sentiment towards James Charles. His reputation simply never recovered from what you could argue to be terrible management of controversy. He had opportunity after opportunity to fix his decline, yet seemed to trip at every single hurdle.
Basically, yeah, that's pretty on the nose. The whole deal with James Charles is just, once again, fame, the monster of fame just devours everybody. And if you ain't careful, it'll devour you.
Yeah.
And I would say also just stop trying to diddle kids. I don't understand why. I mean, that they're kids. They're children. Stop it. Stop. Ugh, criminy. I hate the fact that just fame drives people to do stuff that's just it just makes no sense to me, I guess, where I'm an outsider looking in, as I'm nowhere near that famous. I'll probably never ever be that famous. And if I ever do get famous and I start acting like that, I would fully expect someone I know to just like punch me in the fucking face. No,
get Chad to do that.
No, Chad, Jacob.
Oh God.
Yeah, I'd probably get Jacob to do it because he can throw a mean punch, like a big ass overhand right straight to the jaw.
You don't know what you're asking for.
No, I know what I'm asking for. I've taken punches from Jake before.
Oh.
Yeah, me and him, we've sparred a couple times. And he tuned my ass up because he can actually box.
Uh-huh.
It's just the only advantage I have over him is like I'm bigger than him, and I think I'm a better wrestler overall, anyway. But
yeah, but about the video though, like it does suck that he kept digging himself in that hole, but you can't. I mean, again, it's all about, you know, when you're on that platform, you have to, you're under a microscope anyway, so you did. I mean,
yeah, so
it's
many
pretty
eyes on
stupid to just to put yourself out there and say things like, "Oh, I'm attracted to younger people" and all this other stuff. I mean, he just literally set himself up for that.
Yeah. Didn't mean to interrupt you there. Go ahead.
Well, I just think that, you know, especially with you being a celebrity, like, you know, you need to be doing your research too. Like,
agreed.
And there's no way that he, you know, didn't know that those people were not underage. You know what I mean? Like, for it to be multiple. I mean, I can understand if it was just one, but there were multiple. So, I mean, I don't know. I mean.
Well, I mean, one is an accident, 2 is coincidence, 3 is a pattern.
Yeah.
That's the whole deal that I get from.
And it didn't actually like completely say like how many there were, but I don't know.
Yeah, I've had interactions. Here's the thing: I've had interactions with fans through our various forms of social media.
Mm-hmm.
I try to steer clear of things like people wanting to do like video calls, especially when it's just me involved. Instead, I'm just like, okay, let's not instead, let's do one where it's all of everybody in the group together, and we can all just like chat that way. But there was a person. I'm just gonna clarify this as well. This person was underage, and as soon as I found out they were underage, I'm just like, I'm not doing any video calls with you. I'm not opening up any photos that I received from you. I had it on like Instagram where I have to approve the photo in order for it to open in my thing, and I'm like, look, I'm not opening anything that you send me. I'm not opening anything, because that's the thing. Anything that you send me that could be seen or interpreted as indecent in any way, that comes back on me.
Right, exactly. And it surprises me also that I know that, well, at one point, Charles had like a team that was like, helping him with his videos and all that kind of stuff and his platform or whatever. So I don't know, like, why didn't you have people helping you, like, check these people, to make sure that...
Like a little vetting process.
Right, exactly. Like, to keep you protected. Like, so that you wouldn't be stuck in this situation.
I don't know. I mean, my guess is just James maybe thought that he was too big to really get caught or get called out like that. I don't know. Confidence is a weird thing. It can make you and it can break you.
Well, if you do shady shit, you should know that it's gonna come back to you. Yeah. Karma's a bitch.
Yes. So. Karma's a bitch, and she always remembers.
Yeah.
She's a big elephant, and an elephant never forgets.
Yeah.
So James basically could have avoided a lot of this if just tempering your own expanse out into the world and just not expecting everyone to just forget that, it's like, oh, I'm big and famous, therefore people will just forget about it and forgive me. And people wonder why Harvey Weinstein got away with the shit that he did for so long. Because when you're one of the most powerful men in Hollywood, you feel like you can get away with this shit and no one's going to say anything. And then the very moment that he stops being the most popular producer in Hollywood, then everyone in Hollywood just throws him to the wolves.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it works.
Well, I mean, to be honest, like, I just think, like I said before, if you do shady shit, it's gonna come out in the open. It's just inevitable.
Yeah, and I guess...
mean, when it's just like, a criminal when they commit a crime. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's pretty obvious that if a person commits a crime, odds would say that they would eventually one day get outed.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's what I would expect anyway. I mean,
but going after young people, that's just wrong. And
yes, it is on every level. And I don't care what he's just like, oh, the heart wants what it wants. Shut the fuck up, Woody Allen. Get in the fucking paddy wagon.
Yeah.
I don't care. If you're going to go after someone because you're attracted to them, okay, but then it's like, oh, they're underage. Back on up.
Right.
That's how it needs to be. But
unfortunately,
people don't listen.
No. And people don't have morals.
Yeah, moral ambiguity is the soup of the day right now.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, what are morals? I don't know. I'm ignorant of it. Therefore, I'm not held back by it. No, you're still held to those morals. You just don't want to be.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
That's the problem.
Everyone wants to be free of moral turpitude or anything like that, but no, it's still there because it's called society. And if societal standards dictates that what you're doing is wrong, you're going to be held accountable. I mean, hell, I talked about this one time. If you ever want to feel like, if you feel like the United States is bad with like age of consent and all that, look at Europe. Because like Europe is bad, but then if you want to feel even more bad, look at Mexico. Do you want to know what the age of consent in certain provinces in Mexico are?
I don't think we should talk about that on here.
12.
That just makes my stomach churn.
Me too.
That's why I didn't want to say. I didn't want you to say it because it's.
I'm sorry.
I don't.
So people of the world, just know that it's bad. It can be bad, but it can always be worse. Speaking of always being worse, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, everybody, signing off, I'm Nate.
I'm Kate.
Take care. Peace.
See ya.